Hello everyone and welcome to SEW-EURODRIVE's How-To series. We're going to be discussing how to maintain and take care of your product. So let's get into it. In this particular episode, we're going to talk about mounting positions and breather plug locations. Now, most gear motors that are out there in the field have specific identifiers for mounting positions. While there's not really a standard, SEW-EURODRIVE has decided to use M1 through M6 to identify how their gear motors are mounted. Now, why are mounting positions important? That's the question we want to answer. Think about how every gearbox has oil in it. And if this oil is not in the right location, then as you rotate the gearbox to different positions, the oil could not get to the bearings or the seals or the gears, and that's never good. You can have failures and overheating and other problems. So we identify through a mounting position how the gearbox and the motor are designed and how much oil is applied for this particular unit. So let's get into the specific mounting positions that SEW-EURODRIVE has for their product. We're now going to see the 6 mounting positions that SEW-EURODRIVE utilizes for its gearboxes. Here we have it mounted at M1. This is a horizontal mount and is the most common mount that you're going to see. This position also utilizes the least amount of oil, and it's very common in the industry for conveyor systems and things like that. The next position after M1 is of course M2, and for M2 it's going to be motor down. Some applications require the gearbox to be mounted in a position that allows them to have access to the system that it's mounted to. For our next position, M3, the unit is going to be where the gearbox is mounted upside down but horizontal. This again offers you other options when it comes to mounting to conveyors and other systems so that you're not interfering with other pieces of machinery. Our next mounting position is M4. M4 is where the motor is up and it's in a vertical position. This is very similar to M2, but again, the motor is up instead of down. This particular mounting position requires the most amount of oil in many cases, and so it's a very specialized option based on certain applications. Our next position is M5. M5 is a horizontal position, but it's going to have the A side of the gear housing facing down. This is used in a lot of stirring applications and mixing applications. The next position and final position is M6. For M6, it's the opposite of M5. So we're going to rotate the housing all the way over, and now your A side is up in the air. Again, this position is used for mixing applications and stirring applications. It's just for different orientations that the customer needs. These are your 6 mounting positions. No matter the size of the gearbox, it always goes through the same motions and orientations. Now that we've discussed mounting positions, let's move over to the other aspect that's important, and that is the breather. Now, breathers are designed to relieve the pressure that's building up inside of a gearbox from temperature fluctuations that naturally occur during operation. This breather is essential to preventing any type of damage to the gear housing. This can happen when you build up pressure and the seals or the gaskets are going to fail because there's too much pressure in the unit. This breather needs to be installed properly in the sense that it needs to be located in a position that is as far away as possible from the oil itself. That way you're breathing air instead of oil. To illustrate the use of a breather and where it should be located a little bit better, I'm going to use a water bottle here. This water bottle represents the gearbox. The water inside the bottle is your oil. Now I'm going to take my breather and imagine that you have a gearbox mounted at M4. You notice the breather is away from the water. That's what you want. Imagine you moved your gearbox to a different position and you left the breather in place. Do you see what would happen? This isn't good because the oil would be going out of the breather. So a good rule of thumb is you always want to have your breather as far away as possible from your oil source. There are limited areas on a gearbox where you can place the breather, but if you know where your oil level is at, just make sure your breather is away from that point. Now in front of me I have a gearbox where we're going to simulate where we would put the breather. This particular gearbox is mounted at M1, and so the breather is going to typically go here. Now, there's always another side to the gearbox. I always recommend put the breather opposite of where your installed equipment is, that way you have access to it. When I put this breather into this open hole here, you just got to thread it in by hand. And then you're going to take a wrench and just tighten it down. You'll notice on this breather there is a rubber grommet or gasket. This is called a transportation seal. It should always be removed before you put your gearbox into operation. If you fail to do so, then you will have some pressure buildup and your gearbox could have damage. To remove the seal, all you have to do is pull it with your finger, and then you just stretch it and it comes right off. If at any point after you've installed your breather you need to change the position of the gearbox, that mounting position requires you to now change the oil level. This also means you may need to change where the breather is located. To do that, you can reference our technical documentation that we have that shows you specific locations for our oil plugs and breathers, and these can be found on our website. So now that we've covered mounting positions and breather plug locations, I wanted to let you know that we have another video that will talk about the oil levels and the oil plug locations. But as always, we encourage you to check out our technical specifications and our operating instructions on our website so that you can better understand exactly what you should be doing when it comes to taking care of your product. If you're interested in learning more about SEW-EURODRIVE's components, products, or solutions, please go to SEW-EURODRIVE.com. Together, we drive the world.